finish here.
In the electrifying, unpredictable world of mixed martial arts, fighters are often thrust into the spotlight as either heroes or villains. But what truly separates the legends from the cautionary tales? Is it their skill, their charisma, or something more primal? Today, we're diving headfirst into the starkly different legacies of two of MMA's most iconic figures, Georges St-Pierre and Jon Jones. As we peel back the layers of their careers, ask yourself, what makes a fighter truly unforgettable? Is it the accolades, the attitude, or the legacy they leave behind? Georges St-Pierre, GSP. The name alone commands respect in the world of MMA. Born in Saint-Isidore, Quebec, GSP wasn't just any fighter. He was a carefully crafted machine of discipline and technical prowess. But here's the question. Did his relentless pursuit of perfection make him a true icon? Or did it leave him a little too polished, too pristine to ever be truly loved? From his early days, GSP immersed himself in Kyokushin karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing, becoming a jack-of-all-trades in the octagon. But was his journey to the top really as flawless as it seems? Sure, GSP was respectful, even stoic in his approach. But did that lack of raw emotion make him less relatable, less human? Did his relentless focus on professionalism come at the expense of the fire, the passion, and the unpredictability that fans crave in a fighter? GSP's UFC debut in 2004 showcased his undeniable skill. But let's be honest, did his fights ever make your heart race? Or were they just another calculated performance by a fighter who was too focused on winning to take any real risks? Could it be that his dominance in the welterweight division, with 9 title defenses, was less about passion and more about the sterile execution of a well-rehearsed game plan? When GSP left the sport, he did so as a champion, with his legacy untarnished. But does that make him the greatest, or just the safest? Did his exit leave us in awe, or did it leave us wondering what could have been if he'd taken more chances, shown more vulnerability, embraced the chaos that makes MMA so thrilling? Was GSP a beacon of respect, or just a master of playing it safe in a sport that thrives on risk? Jon Jones, a tragic hero or the architect of his own downfall? And then, on the flip side, we have Jon "Bones" Jones, a fighter whose name is synonymous with both brilliance and controversy. Born in Rochester, New York, Jones was a prodigy, a phenom, a force of nature in the cage. But with that meteoric rise, did we all see the cracks forming beneath the surface? Did Jones's unchecked ego and reckless behavior make his downfall not just possible, but inevitable? Jones's debut in the UFC in 2008 was nothing short of spectacular. At just 23 years old, he became the youngest champion in the sport's history. And with that title came the heavy burden of expectation. But here's the real kicker. Was his downfall a result of that pressure? Or was it the inevitable outcome of a man who couldn't control his own worst impulses? Was Jon Jones always destined to be the tragic hero of MMA? Or did he write his own story of self-destruction? As Jones's career progressed, so did the scandals. Failed drug tests, legal issues, a hit-and-run incident, his life outside the octagon became a spectacle of poor decisions. But let's dig deeper. Did we as fans relish in his downfall? Did we secretly enjoy watching a fighter with so much potential squander it all? Or did we hold out hope that he would find redemption? Was Jon Jones the villain in his own story? Or was he just too human, too flawed, too real for a sport that often demands perfection? Despite everything, Jones continued to dominate inside the cage, regaining his title in 2016 and defending it with the same ferocity that made him a star. But can we truly separate the fighter from the man? Can we appreciate his brilliance when his personal life is a mess? Or does his talent in the cage only highlight the chaos outside of it, making his story one of the most complex, tragic, and compelling in the history of MMA? Legacies in contrast. A tale of two fighters. So, what do we make of these two fighters? Georges St-Pierre, with his clean-cut image, his discipline, his respectability. Was he the fighter MMA needed, or just the one it tolerated? Was his legacy truly one of greatness, or was it simply the result of a meticulously controlled career that left little room for excitement or unpredictability? Did GSP's legacy inspire, or did it bore? And then there's Jon Jones, the antithesis of GSP. Jones's legacy is one of raw, untamed talent marred by controversy and self-destruction. But here's the question. Does that make his story more compelling, more relatable, more human? Are we drawn to Jones because he reflects the chaos and complexity of our own lives? Or do we despise him for not living up to the expectations we set for our heroes? Is Jones a tragic hero who couldn't overcome his demons, or is he simply a cautionary tale? A warning of what happens when talent is not matched by discipline? For GSP, his legacy is about doing everything right, being the consummate professional, the perfect champion. But does doing everything right make for a great story, or does it leave us craving something more? Is GSP's legacy the epitome of respect and excellence, or is it just a little too predictable? For Jon Jones, his legacy is about the battle between brilliance and self-destruction. But does that battle make him more interesting, more captivating, more real? Is Jones's story one of tragedy, of what could have been, or is it a reflection of the darker side of fame and success? A reminder that even the greatest are not immune to their own flaws. Fan perspectives, the love, the hate, the relatability. Let's turn the spotlight onto the fans. How do they see these two polar opposites? For GSP, the admiration is almost universal. He's the champion's champion, the role model. But here's the twist. Does that make him loved or just respected? Do fans really want a perfect champion? Or do they crave someone who's a little rough around the edges? Someone who's been through the fire and emerged with scars to show for it? And then there's Jon Jones, a figure as polarizing as they come. His talent is undeniable, but his repeated failures outside the octagon have made it difficult for many to fully embrace him. But here's the question. Do we secretly love Jones because of his flaws? Do we see something of ourselves in his struggles, in his inability to stay on the straight and narrow? Or are we just waiting for his next fall, ready to say, "I knew it," when he stumbles again? Social media is a battlefield where these two legacies play out in real time. GSP's posts are filled with praise, but are they passionate? Are they filled with love or just respect? Jones's accounts, on the other hand, are a minefield of support and criticism. Chaotic, unpredictable, much like the man himself. But what does that really say about us as fans? Do we crave the chaos of Jones because it's more real, more reflective of our own lives? Or do we hate him because he reminds us of our own failures, our own inability to live up to the standards we set for ourselves? The final verdict. Which fighter truly captures your imagination? In the end, the legacies of St-Pierre and Jon Jones aren't just a tale of two fighters. They're a reflection of what we as fans value in our heroes. GSP, with his discipline and professionalism, represents everything we should want in a champion. But does he capture our imagination, or does he just tick all the right boxes? Is he loved or merely respected? Jon Jones, on the other hand, is the embodiment of chaos. Brilliant, flawed, and endlessly compelling. His story is one of highs and lows, triumphs and disasters. But does that make him more relatable, more human, more worthy of our attention? Is Jones the tragic hero who couldn't overcome his demons, or is he just a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when talent goes unchecked? So, which fighter resonates with you? Do you admire GSP for his unwavering discipline, his clean-cut legacy, or do you find yourself drawn to the wild ride that is Jon Jones? In the world of MMA, where the line between hero and villain is often blurred, the stories of Georges St-Pierre and Jon Jones will forever be intertwined. Two fighters, two legacies, and one question that remains. What kind of fighter do you truly love?